I started reading a book a week when I was 14 years old. Now, I was always super into reading. Even when I was young, 7, 8, I used to read a lot. But then I read like hardcore self-help business books from the age of 14. So,
why?
It's because I knew I was fucked. Like, I knew from the age of 8 or 9 years old, I was fucked. And it was, I guess, you just grow up so quickly. I remember even my mom used to have to always hide her bank statements because I would be 11 or 12 years old looking at our bank statements and running calculations. How much are we spending? Mm-hmm. What's our run rate? And my mom's always been super frugal. Even to this day, she's still super frugal. Yeah, I was 15 years old. It's crazy because I have 8 years of footage on YouTube, and I was uploading on YouTube for so long just for myself. Like, I had years and years of me just documenting everything from, okay, I'm reading this book this week. So I'm reading this book, this is what I'm doing in the gym, this is what I'm going through, oh, I have this business idea, I'm starting this business, all the way to like me signing my first client, and then going through a long drought where I wasn't signing any clients, and then I signed my first big client, and then a week later I was making five and a half grand a month. Within 2 months later, I was making 15 grand a month. Then I hired my first employee, and then 3 days later I make a video of how my first employee left because he thought I was basically just such a shit leader. Because I was 17, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I started selling promotions, Instagram promotions for that page, and then I was starting to get offers to buy that page. Mm-hmm. So I took the money I made from promotions, and what I would do is I would buy an Instagram page, let's say for like a Porsche fan page, and I would take that Porsche fan page, because that's a very niche thing. You can't really get many sponsors for that. And I would take a Porsche fan page with 150,000 followers, which back then was worth a lot more than what it is today. And I would just rebrand it to a general luxury page. And, I'd lose a decent amount of engagement and followers, but at least the page was open to a lot more sponsorships and potential sponsors. So that led me into, I'm watching all these fitness influencers. And I'm like, yo, you know what? Why don't I just pick up a camera and just start vlogging my life? Like, start making videos, and they would get like 13 views, but I didn't really care because it felt like someone I could talk to. Because as I said, back then, the self-development stuff, it wasn't cool. You were legitimately lame. You were an outcast. In school, I was a full outcast. Mm-hmm. I was lame. Like, everyone laughed at me. So I was doing that. I had a YouTube, and I was kind of honing in my craft of photo, video. And then from there, I just started reaching out to people and saying, yo, I'll give you a free video shoot. I'll make a little video for you. I'll do a photo shoot, stuff like that. And then that's how I started getting some photo video clients, until the day where one business was like, can you do this for us, like long term? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, could you like manage our social media and like create content and post it and grow it? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I sent out my first quote, which was, I was so scared to do. First of all, I charged weekly because I thought that might sound cheaper. And I also I was too scared to charge 100 pounds a week. So I charged 95 pounds a week. Smart. Yeah. They didn't see through that at all. Well, actually, I guess they didn't, because they ended up signing. And that was my first client. That was in August of 2016. So continued to grow the creative agency until a certain point. So the inflection point was 6 months later, where I was working with these clients, but they saw no value in it. So I was getting decent retainer, I was making decent money, but as I said, I'm a very unemotional person when it comes to business. So I look at things for what they are, and I don't get emotional about it. Whereas clients can get very emotional sometimes. They can go, I had clients of mine who were spending 10,000 pounds a month on red bus ads, but then they were like trying to like constantly on my neck for the 2,500 pounds a month I was charging them to manage their entire social media and grow it, and create all of this content that they could use 100 different ways. And it got to a point where it just got on my nerves so much that I was like, fuck this, I'm done. I need to change things up. I need to pivot. And that's when I started learning advertising. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to start offering advertising services. I'm going to start offering advertising services to my existing clients as a small fee on top of what I was already doing. What you can do is you can buy yourself time. Like if you work really hard for the next 6 months, you may have bought yourself 18 months, but there's no such thing as fucking passive income.
Yeah.
The market will do what the market does, and someone will come in and take your spot. So I guess just from a young age, I've always just realized there's no such thing as like, I'm here now, I'm happy. I think there's definitely a monetary amount where you can get to where you realize, okay, I'm kind of happy at this amount, but it still takes maintenance. I think I was in such a weird position where I made my first million when I was 18. And when you make your first million when you're 18, and you're also like, I grew up so quick in so many senses of my life. So like, even when it came to women, when it came to money, when it came to all these things, I grew up so quick, and it gave me this perspective that, like, for me at least, apart from work and challenge, like, what's left? Like, I have so many. Listen, I even have friends of mine that have $300 million in the bank, and they're in their late 20s, and they've done very well in certain businesses. And I have to check in on them because sometimes they're a genuine suicide risk. If the social media side went down, I would kind of love that, because then I can focus on my companies, what I've been invested in, and stuff like that. And when you have a certain track record, you don't need social media. Well, some companies would be affected more than others, but also some companies' revenues would go up substantially more because I can focus on it. Because I have a lot of companies that social media doesn't affect. Social media has no bearing on the performance of that company. And the thing is, I was saying this to my friend the other day. We were talking about some athletes, and one athlete is very active on social media, and the other athlete is not. And my friend was saying that, I know this person will become a world champion. And I said, I'm telling you this for a fact right now. For a fact, this person will never become a world champion. Because you can't be a social media distraction. You can't be a fucking little monkey social media superstar and still do this. Yeah. And we have 3 full-time thumbnail editors. When I say full-time, as in everyone in my companies, they're all full-time people. We don't use any contractors, any service providers. No, hey, you work in my company, another company, any of that bullshit. Everyone works for our companies, like whichever company it is, our companies, and that's it. You're part of us or nothing. And I have 3 full-time thumbnail editors. I implemented this in 2020, right as we were about to scale up. 3 full-time thumbnail editors, and I upload 1 YouTube video a week. So, and then people are like, that's ridiculous. How does that work? That's stupid. Every YouTube video that goes out, we have, each thumbnail editor provides 5 options. So we have 15 options for thumbnails for every single video. And I never post for thumbnails either. Like, I don't, like, you will not see me like doing a thing. Oh, can we stop and take the thumbnail quick? No. Just use whatever images are out there online and make the most of it. I used to, listen, I had a house in Cape Town for years, and I was walking around with Rolex, with Rolex on my wrist, stuff like that, no security. You'll have no issues. Yeah. It's just, it's just like, if you, I guess, listen, with everything in life, just have your wits about you. I lived in London. I think I was 19 when I bought a Richard Mille, and I was wearing it when I was 19 years old. I was wearing my RM in London, no issues in this and that. So, and I was wearing nice watches, Pateks, this, that, in London for a long time. As long as you're just not dumb, you have your wits about you. So I think all of these places you'll be fine. It's just certain places definitely make me a little bit more on edge. London is one of those places. I moved into my own place when I was 17, and I was always used to living alone. It's actually been one of the best things to ever happen, because I think one issue, and I don't know, maybe you can speak to this, in Dubai, I find a lot of my male friends in Dubai who live alone, who are high achievers, end up getting they feel quite depressed a lot of times, because you're in a place where you feel the energy of like, you should be doing something. So you're working super hard. It's also like in London, when I lived in London, I would have friends that would just come ring on my doorbell randomly. And they're like, oh yeah, I was just, going to a coffee shop around the corner. I thought I'd pop in. You don't get that whole vibe of, oh, I just thought I'd pop in here. Yeah. I think it's a period you go through, but also you get to a certain point where you did what you said you were going to do. And I feel like now you kind of deserve to pop your head up and be a normal social person again. And there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, sometimes you need to go through those periods of isolation. And I mean, these days it's not much. I think, so monk mode was something I started doing 4 years ago. And it was something I was doing anyways, but I just put a name to it. And I think monk mode was floating around as a term, but it wasn't like what it is now. I heard it loosely here and there. So I just started telling my friends, oh, I'm doing monk mode. And it was a way for my friends to, understand. Like my friends would even be like, oh, are you on monk mode? Like offering me a drink. And like, oh, I forgot you're on monk mode, blah, blah. Like it was something that people could get behind. Be like, oh, okay, I get it. He's like in a period of focused work and this and that. And listen, the world we live in is savage, because I think everyone should rush to make 5 or 10,000 or 15,000 a month. I think that's a very like even 18-year-olds or 19-year-olds, that should be an aspirational thing. But I mean, there's like 19-year-olds are rushing to make $1 million a year. And I think a lot of it is to do with women. They think that that's going to help them get women. And I really need people to understand that when you're 19, no fucking woman wants you, bro. No woman wants you. Like, girls usually don't want a guy below the age of 26. Now, here's the thing. Of course, if you act a certain way, I was, when I was 17, I was dating girls in their 20s. Like I've always just carried myself in a certain way. You just have a certain energy. But nonetheless, when I was 19 or 20 with fucking all these girls, they don't want a guy that age. Yeah. They want the guy who's 28 or 30. So when you're, 21 years old in a rush to become a millionaire because you think it's going to get you all these chicks, just understand you're competing against guys who are like 30, 32. You have no chance. You're fucked.